Greetings, fellow Trekkies, and welcome to Screen Rant. You know, with the rise of Skywalker and The Mandalorian lately, I've been doing a lot of Star Wars videos, so it's nice to finally change it up a bit. So, let's talk Trek. The Borg are one of Star Trek The Next Generation's most iconic bad guys, effectively cybernetic space zombies linked through a hive mind whose sole and primary purpose is to assimilate other species and technology into their collective. And more often than not, Captain Jean-Luc Picard was at the forefront of battles to stop them, so it seems pretty likely that they'll feature in the upcoming Picard series. We know 7 of 9 from Star Trek Voyager will be making an appearance, as well as Hugh, the Borg drone that was rescued by the Enterprise crew in Season 5, but it's still unclear what role the Borg will play in their first Star Trek appearance in over 15 years. It looks like the Romulans have captured a Borg cube and are holding Borgs as prisoners, and look at that, they've managed to go 16 years without a Borg assimilation. Now, it's still too soon to tell exactly how it'll all play out, but let's at least get you all refreshed before you watch Picard. I'm Greg Elliott, and let's take a look at the Borg's most important episodes from Star Trek The Next Generation. The Borg's very first appearance is in Q Who, the 16th episode of Season 2. In it, Q has been thrown out of the Q continuum and demands to be made an officer on the Enterprise. Picard, of course, refuses, so Q throws the Enterprise thousands of light years away to the Delta Quadrant, where they're soon met by a Borg cube which easily overpowers the ship. Picard tries to communicate and make peace with the Borg, but they're not interested, and just when it looks like they're doomed, Q shows back up and forces Picard to admit humanity isn't ready for threats like this. Now, having made his point, Q puts the Enterprise back in the Alpha Quadrant, but the damage had already been done. The Borg were coming. They then return in the two-part The Best of Both Worlds, going from Season 3 into Season 4. The Borg kidnap Captain Picard and assimilate him into the collective as Locutus of Borg, effectively making him their spokesman for the impending assimilation of Earth. Riker eventually fends them off and rescues Picard, but along the way, Starfleet was handed one of its most devastating defeats at the Battle of Wolf 359, which destroyed 39 of the 40 ships there and killed thousands of people, including the wife of Deep Space Nine's Captain Sisko. The Best of Both Worlds not only introduced the idea that the Borg assimilate other races, it was also the beginning of Picard's deeply personal relationship with them, and he's never quite fully recovered from his assimilation. In the Season 5 episode, I, Borg, the Enterprise recovers/rescues the Borg drone I mentioned earlier, whom they come to call Hugh. Picard wants to infect Hugh with a virus and send him back into the collective to destroy it, but after realizing Hugh has actually regained some semblance of individuality, Picard concedes that he deserves to choose his own fate. Hugh does decide to return to the collective, hoping that his individuality might somehow survive. And then in Descent, the finale of Season 6 going into the premiere of Season 7, the Enterprise encounters some Borg again, but these particular drones have emotions and call each other by proper names. Turns out that when Hugh rejoined the collective, his individuality did spread, and Data's evil twin Lore was trying to use these vulnerable Borg as his own personal army. But he was ultimately defeated by the Enterprise crew and Hugh, who became the leader of the newly liberated Borg. And it's not an episode of The Next Generation, but the movie Star Trek First Contact, easily the best TNG film, brought the Borg back again and also introduced the Borg Queen, who's a representative of the collective similar to Picard's time as Locutus. Picard eventually defeats them, but they really mess with his head and have had a lasting effect on him. Although Star Trek Voyager dealt with the Borg very differently than Picard and the Enterprise did, we know that resistance is futile and they'll always be one of Star Trek's biggest bads. We'll see how they come into play in the new Picard series, and you know that we'll keep you posted on anything we find out. Until then, thanks for watching Screen Rant, guys. I'm Greg Elliott, and I'll see you next time. Peace.